We believe in authentic stories. Share yours.
What time is it?
It's week 12, baby, and there's Derrick Henry, NFL's leading rusher, rocking the Canadian tuxedo denim on denim. He got good genetics and good genes.
Oh, say it ain't so. There's Big Joe Burrow talking to Mike Vrabel, sleeping with the enemy. Come on, man, don't do that. 79 points over the last 2 games for the Bengals offense.
There's Tua Tagovailoa. He's got 74% completion percentage on the year, 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, only 8 sacks, home against the Houston Texans today.
Lamar Jackson, the leader of the Baltimore Ravens, he's doing a great job running the football. 666 yards this year, 3 touchdowns. There you go.
Well, Phil said,
There you go.
there you go. Hello, folks, and welcome to the NFL Today, presented by Jeep Cherokee. I'm James Brown, back in Studio 43, yes, with my colleagues. Real quickly, we'll say the MVP, league MVP, Boomer Esiason. Simply say the talented Nate Burleson. Simply say HOF, Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher. And MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, that will be Phil Simms. Hey, folks, the NFL regular season is entering the stretch run. And as the playoff picture continues to shape up, we've been treated to some surprises from squads and players alike.
Yeah, you're talking about surprises. 3 starting quarterbacks in the league right now, maybe leading their teams to the playoffs. Who are they? First off, it's Taylor Heineke, 6-5 in Washington. It's not a novelty act anymore, guys. It's real. He's got talent. He's leading the team. They got energy. The number 2 guy, Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers tried to trade him. To their luck, nobody wanted him. So there he is leading the 49ers. They're 6-4, and he keeps getting better every week because now he's getting in game shape throwing the football. And last but not least, our man Geno Smith. We're going to talk about him a lot today, but he's having a terrific year physically, mentally, everything, and leading the Seattle Seahawks to a 6-4 record.
You know, we're going to do an eye vision on him later, Phil, which is a great eye vision. But you think about the best storyline of the year to date. To me, it is the Seattle Seahawks. And for that reason, there, you talk about Russell Wilson being traded, giving it over to their backup for 3 years, that being Geno Smith. Okay, so we're in transition. So let me take the oldest coach in the league, Pete Carroll, 71 years old, who acts like he's 41 years old in this transition. They start 4 rookies. And where are they right now? 6-4, atop the NFC West with the 49ers. They got 5 of their last 7 games at home. This was supposed to be a rebuild. How about calling it a reboot?
Ooh, a reboot. Listen, as we say goodbye to November and hello to December, this is the stretch of the season that matters to most. You once said it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we also heard on this show that real football doesn't start until after Thanksgiving. Definitely. So how about that? Teams are going to show us who they are, and that's exactly who they'll be in the postseason. And here on CBS, we have the best ball games and the best breakdowns.
And you want to know something? There is one team out there that is panicking. It's the New York Jets. Right now, if the playoffs started, they had the 3rd wild card. They would be the 7th seed, and they are making a quarterback change. And you talk about one of the worst stories of the year has to be Zach Wilson, the 2nd overall draft pick for the Jets. He's not only benched, he's not going to be wearing a uniform today. He is going to be standing on the sideline as Joe Flacco is going to be backing up Mike White. That's what I call panic setting in.
And Bill, what about those preseason rumors? Pete Carroll was washed up. The game was passing by. Can't relate to the young guys. That all sounds good, right?
Tell me all the things that you want to get my motivation going.
That would do it.
Tell me what I can't do.
That would do it. All right, folks. Hey, our featured matchup is an AFC divisional round rematch. Same squad, same place. And Joe Burrow and the Bengals are hoping for the same result when they clash with Derrick Henry and the Titans.
Look who's back.
Welcome to Nashville and the divisional playoffs.
Look who's back.
Bengals and Titans from Music City.
Ready to attack.
First play from scrimmage. Intercepted!
That's not the start you want if you're Mike Vrabel.
9 sacks for the Tennessee defense.
The quarterback's scared.
Tennessee has come to play on a direct snap. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Come on, get some points.
Look who's back.
Mixon is gone! What an opening statement in this 3rd quarter. A huge play for the Bengals D with 20 seconds to play. McPherson trying to kick the Bengals into the AFC Championship. He's got it! Cincinnati wins!
Look who's back. Who's back?
And And joining us live from the booth in Nashville, where he will be calling today's game between the Bengals and the Titans, the man who delivers the same old excellence, that would be the one and only Charles Davis. Hey, CD, if the Bengals want a repeat of the divisional round, it starts with the obvious, protecting Joe Burrow.
It certainly does, JB, and that's been the mission since they left Nashville and moved on to the Super Bowl last year. Even though they got to the big game, they knew they had to revamp the offensive line because the Titans got to them in a variety of ways in that divisional playoff. They beat them with just one-on-one matchups. They played games with the defensive line and got to him. Joe Burrow under duress the entire game, and he saved them by not turning the ball over. So, in order to protect him and get him going, you had to make the changes. 4 new starters from 2021. Jonah Williams, the left tackle, the only returning starter. 3 of them are free agent signings. Alex Cappa, Lael Collins, and of course, Ted Karras at center. And then they drafted Cordell Volson, and they've started the same 5 every game. So they're starting to get some continuity now. Take a look. The first 2 games, 13 sacks given up, both losses. Since then, that continuity, that cohesion, the communication, better play kicking in. And when you play better up front, you give Joe Burrow a chance to be Joe Burrow. And he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. No longer should we say one of the best young quarterbacks. He's one of the best quarterbacks, and the numbers bear it out. Completion percentage, passing yards per game, touchdowns, passing yards per attempt. In fact, since week 6, he's a 73.5% completion percentage. So Joe Burrow is the guy. And remember, they're playing today without Jamar Chase. They're playing without Joe Mixon. But if you ask the Bengals players, they say, who's worrying? We've got Joe Burrow. Might be the title to a new song as I send it back to you in New York, JB.
Hey, Bill Cowher was nodding on your correction. They're the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks, period. Hey, CD, thank you. Knock him alive, buddy. All right.
And here's the other quarterback in today's game. That's Ryan Tannehill. You know, since week 7 of 2019, when he took over as starting quarterback of the Titans, all he's done is won 36 games. That's 4th best amongst quarterbacks over that period of time. And he's coming off of his best game against the Green Bay Packers, over 300 yards passing.
And boom, here are the headlines for Week 12. Coming into Week 12 on a 4-game win streak, Tua Tagovailoa and his mates in South Florida. Folks, they're red hot. And with the victory today against the Texans, they'll return to the top of the AFC East, that alongside the Bills. And speaking of 4-game win streaks, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, they're on a roll, looking to notch their 5th win in a row as they head to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. And one of the biggest surprises of the season, the play, yes, of Geno Smith, as Bill alluded to, and the Seahawks, who, in a game some of you will see later today, will look to stay atop the NFC West against the visiting Raiders. And folks, our entire CBS Sports family is mourning after the passing of our longtime media coordinator and graphics assistant, Jimmy Valdez, on Thursday night. He was a truly incredible spirit, and Jimmy was the ultimate teammate and a fixture of our CBS family, joining the company over 30 years ago in 1991 as an intern. Our thoughts and prayers are with his beloved and doting wife, Julie, and his entire family. Jimmy was dearly loved and respected, and today's show is dedicated to Jimmy Valdez.
Jalen and I teamed up to bring back school sports for kids in Philly because I'm these kids' biggest fan. Go to missiontiger.com to see what happened.
And see that I'm their biggest fan.
No, I'm their biggest fan.
They signed my shirt.
Well, that's cheating. I don't even wear shirts.
The NFL Today on CBS is presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee.
I think Nate agrees with me. Tyreek Hill might be the most dangerous man in the league. Who wants to be embarrassed by this guy? The Cheetah, 2nd in the league in receptions, yards, and big plays. Hey, folks, he's capable of blowing the top off of any defense.
And for all the latest news and updates from around the league, we are joined by our handsome NFL Today insider. That will be Jonathan Jones. JJ, second-year quarterback Zach Wilson, to put it mildly, he has had a pretty rough week.
Yeah, listen to what Robert Saleh said this week. He said the full intent is to make sure Zach gets back on the field. There is a difference between intent and a plan. Now, the Jets believe in Mike White and love his smarts. Zach Wilson always had the tendency to make the easy throws look hard, and the belief is Saleh's going to ride the hot hand, and Wilson's benching will last weeks, if not the rest of the season. He needed to mature, be more accountable, but he went around to every individual defender this week and apologized, and then apologized to the whole team.
And we'll see how this story plays out. Cardinals have dropped 3 of the last 4. Changes on the horizon there?
We'll see. Now, talking with sources around the league, there's a belief there's leadership issues there. And Kyler Murray, he's dealt with those questions before. Cliff Kingsbury, one person asked if players on the 4-7 team fear the coach, if there's a healthy respect there. Many around the league wondered why Cliff and GM Steve Keim got extensions through the 2027 season this offseason after just one winning season. It's going to be a very important December for Arizona.
Pretty significant extensions. And, of course, Odell Beckham Jr., we continue to hear a lot about the sweepstakes there. What's the latest?
All right, so when it comes to OBJ, lots of intrigue on where he's going to land. New York, Dallas, the Cowboys are showing the most public display of affection for OBJ. I had one GM say to me recently, hey, no one's actually seen him run a route yet. His visits will be physicals and talking with teams. What does he want? A multi-year deal. Can he legitimately contribute to a team in 2022? That's something that truly remains to be seen.
Have not laid eyes on him running a route yet. Interesting indeed. Thank you so much, JJ. All right, folks. And the Tua for MVP noise is getting louder with each passing week, that is, as Tua continues to rack up numbers while alerting the world. Guess what? The time is now.
It's
Overtime.
my time. My time. My time to shine.
Tua to the end zone. Touchdown. He's got a man.
He's been fun to watch today.
Tua's been unstoppable the last few weeks.
Tua Tagovailoa continues to impress.
Man, does he get rid of it quick.
It doesn't get any better than that.
What about Tua Tagovailoa?
It's my time.
Masterful performance.
My time.
Another just perfectly thrown pass.
Tua looks like he's having a ton of fun in that offense.
So the question is, how good has Tua Tagovailoa been over the last 4 weeks?
Pretty
Truth is, not good at all. He's been great, Coach. Check this out. All right, 72.2 completion percentage. What I love here, the 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then the sacks, only 2, which means they're protecting him in the pocket, but he's also getting rid of the ball, Phil.
Yeah, he really does. You know, when you think those numbers are insane. But this Miami offense, nobody has really slowed it down so far this year. And why is that? They have talent. I love the offense, but also it's unique because they're the only one running this type of offense. Tua, it fits him perfectly, gets rid of the football, accurate, and those are keys you always want with a quarterback.
You're constantly evolving and tweaking your offense. So it's a quick passing game, no sacks. But all of a sudden, what they're doing right now, they're going to start running the football with Ralph Wilson Jr. He's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. They still got to play in November or December and January up in New England, up in Buffalo, evolving the running game. Alec can go to fullback, a lot more involved these days.
So as it turns out, Mike McDaniel was the perfect coach for Tua Tagovailoa down there in the Dolphins, and their offense is off the chart. Now, they added Bradley Chubb on defense. I worry about their defense. They don't get takeaways, and they don't get the pass rush. Only a half a sack for Bradley Chubb in 2 games. They have to fix that if they want to win a Super Bowl. Now, you have the Ravens at the Jaguars today. Lamar Jackson, you talked about his running prowess. They do not have a great passing game. We all know that.
Right.
But they do have a defense that gets turnovers. They lead, or they're third in the league, I should say, in turnovers. They will beat you up defensively. They'll try to intimidate opposing quarterbacks, something that Trevor Lawrence will have to deal with today.
And we know that this offense is built around Lamar Jackson's, but when it comes to this offense, I feel like they're going to go as far as Mark Andrews will take them. He's been a little banged up. I call him the Terminator of tight ends. He's an extension of the offensive line. He catches like a wide receiver, and he's a big-time threat in the red zone.
And you talk about a coach that represents and is the face of their represents their football team is John Harbaugh. Run the football and offense, play defense right now. They are second in the National Football League on third down. They've only given up 15 points a game the last 4 weeks. Go and trade for Roquan Smith, maybe the next Ray Lewis. Their defense complements their offense.
Yeah, it really does. This offense, look, you can't be great at everything, but they are really good at running the football.
Right.
And they got the man in Lamar Jackson, 666 yards rushing this year. But also, they picked up Kenyon Drake. Week 1 of the NFL season, he's gotten over 200 yards the last 3 weeks. That was a huge pickup for him. And this offense, it's about running the football.
And Gus Edwards looks to be back today.
Yeah, and he's really good. Speaking of really good, NFL Slime Time is really good, and it's back on Nickelodeon. Tap in with me and young Dylan and watch the highlights become slime lights. Catch NFL Slime Time every Wednesday night at 7 Eastern on Nickelodeon. Okay, I guess the cat's out of the bag when it comes to this Bengals running back. No mixing, but Shamazi P. Ryan said, I got this. Last week, 3 touchdowns, and he's looking to pick up where he left off.
Still to come on the NFL Today. While everyone is still enjoying their holiday leftovers, the guys will give thanks for all the great offensive performances they witnessed on Turkey Day. Tennessee's D has been vital in helping the team build a lead atop the AFC South. And today, Titans standouts Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons will tell us how they're getting it done. Geno Smith has looked like a whole new quarterback this season in Seattle, and Phil will break down what's been working for the Seahawks signal caller. That's all straight ahead on the NFL Today.
CBS Sports embraces authentic stories, and we invite you to share yours at #MyNativeStory and join us in celebrating Native American heritage. All right, folks, let's look at Pepsi's perfect pairs as we highlight the best duos of the week.
A rocket from Geno Smith. What a beautiful throw by Geno. That ball thrown perfectly. Look at the rookie. Touchdown. Ken Walker the third. What a back.
Touchdown! Goodwin on a breathtaking catch.
Oh, what a catch. DK Metcalf. Skies. Are you kidding me? Holy catfish.
Hey, Coach Phil Simms verified this. The Seahawks surprisingly find themselves right in the middle of the NFC playoff picture, but your guy Geno Smith, it seems like he's a perfect pair with whomever he throws to.
Just think about his career. He's in his 10th year right now. He's backed up Eli Manning with the Giants for a year, Phillip Rivers with the Chargers for a year, and his last 3 years behind Russell Wilson. And Phil, right now, Geno Smith is playing his best football, leads the NFL with the highest completion percentage. Tell me about this offense.
Easiest eye vision I've ever done. Pick out good plays by Geno Smith so far this year. They're everywhere. Tyler Lockett, top of the screen. Geno Smith in the pocket, in, out, back in. Laser, 40 yards for the touchdown to Tyler Lockett. These receivers love Geno. Good play action. Boot, quarterback, gets to the outside. Throws to the tight end, Noah Fant, down the field to his left. Perfect throw. My favorite throw of all. Geno Smith, the pocket is tight. He's going to get hit by Leonard Williams. He hangs in there. DK Metcalf at the bottom of the screen, double covered, and it throws a rocket in between the defenders for the first down. And then Tyler Lockett struggling against the Giants. Let's give him a double move to get him going. Good pump fake by Geno Smith. And then again, from the 40-yard line, just a laser down the sideline for the touchdown. Bill, this guy has got franchise NFL quarterback ability when you watch him
When
play.
you watch that, Phil, the one thing you see, he trusts his offensive line, even with 2 rookie tackles. But honestly, it's a system with Shane Waldron, who came from the LA Rams. He is thriving in this system. You've got talent, meeting coaching, and this is what you're getting in a result.
So you're telling me coaching's important.
A
I
little
like that.
bit, yeah.
Okay.
Underscoring your point about a system being matched to the quarterback, huh?
He did it. He matches that right now with Geno Smith, and Geno is thriving in the system. He trusts it.
Just amazing. All right, folks, let's go over to the terrific trio, if you will, of Jonathan, Nate, and Boomer for some more talk about dynamic duos.
Thanks, JB. So Thanksgiving Day had its fair share of perfect pairs as well. Nate, I was told that Kirk Cousins, when it comes to primetime, he turns into a pumpkin.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Now, to keep the Thanksgiving theme going, Justin Jefferson has been going ham, and that's exactly what he did. Check this out. In between 2 guys, he's going up, taking a shot, and coming down with it. We know versus one-on-one, he can go up a high point the ball with the best of them. But there's a trust factor that is happening when Kirk Cousins is looking for him. Check this out. On the goal line, takes a shot by one guy, gets up and celebrates. And this is what he's been doing all season. I haven't seen a JJ start this fast since you've joined the show.
You know, when you talk about trust, you only talk about Buffalo, you talk about 17-14. That would be Steph Diggs and Josh Allen. And ever since Steph Diggs got there and he was brought there and traded for by Brandon Beane, all he's done is 317 catches, almost 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns. And it is a mutual trust that you have to have with your wide receiver. And I know Nate and I have it. I don't think you have it with Phil, but I know that we have it here.
It's my QB.
That's right.
All right. So how about with the playoffs? When I look at this NFC playoff picture right here, there'll only be one here. So, guys, boom, start us off. Which one is it going to be in the Super Bowl?
Well, for me, it's San Francisco. It was at the beginning of the year, and even more so now. They are surging. They've won 3 games in a row. Their next 3 games are all at home. Jimmy Garoppolo, as Phil pointed out, has been playing great these last 3 games. The 2 other teams that I would worry about right now that are surging are the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders.
So what, the Philadelphia Eagles get a blemish on the record and everybody wants to clip their wings? They have everything they need. They have the perfect blend between veterans who know what it's like to get to the mountaintop and an infusion of young players, starting with their quarterback and then surrounded by those skilled players. And then they brought in guys like Ndamukong Suh, who says, I am here to kind of settle these young guys who don't know what it's like to make that run in December and January. I still love the Eagles. They have everything that I need in a team to win a Super Bowl.
You know what? Somewhere Tom Brady's watching this and he just got agitated.
Yeah,
so that means he's probably going to take them.
Okay, but there's one team up here that's 9-2. Are the Minnesota Vikings just chopped liver to you guys?
They're not chopped liver. I don't want to talk bad about my former squad, but there are some things that I look at when it comes to this team, and it causes some concern for what type of run they could make in the postseason.
Much like the Miami Dolphins in the AFC, I worry about their defense. You know, it's all about stopping the opposing teams. And when I think about defensive teams that are going to have to go on the road in the playoffs, most likely, those teams are Dallas and San Francisco. And with a healthy defensive line, if the Washington Commanders make it, they could be a dangerous team on the road.
Okay, all great points, fellas. JB, what's the good word?
All right, folks, and now we take you up first on the field for the latest news and updates on your matchup. That's presented by FedEx. We're ready for the holidays. And coming up at 4 Eastern, Derek Carr and the Raiders, they head to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. And Justin Herbert and the Chargers visit Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. That's all at 4 Eastern right here on CBS. Boom.
You know, guys, the Cardinals, who are they? What are they? What is Kyler Murray? What is Cliff Kingsbury? Are they going to be there next year? I mean, if there was ever a team that needed a win, it's this team right here. Now, Kyler Murray is going to play in this game. He's missed the last 2 games, and you can see that the team basically lost all of its energy when he's not on the field. I expect him to have actually a very good game today, and he needs to win, needs to lead them to a victory.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Chargers, you know, on the offensive side of the ball. I know they're down without Mike Williams, but this passing game is as good as it gets when Justin Herbert finds a rhythm. I know they're led by their running game, but that oftentimes opens up these big targets because all these guys that he's throwing to, they can move the chains, Coach.
Hey, Austin Eckler is what he's got 11 scrimmage touchdowns, second in the National Football League. But you think about it, they've lost to Kansas City and San Francisco the last 2 weeks when leading in the 4th quarter. So they got to be able to close these games, and hopefully they'll get Joey Bosa back to go with Khalil Mack to help that defensive front, get some pressure on the quarterback to be able to close out some of these games.
Yeah, you know, I look at the Arizona Cardinals. Getting Kyler Murray back today gives them a guy that can run with the football. James Conner, running back, gives them some toughness. That's for sure. DeAndre Hopkins, I got to admit, the more I watch him, I go, man, he's almost unstoppable. He really is. And the last thing is J.J. Watt. Late in his career, he's still getting it done. He's played very well all through the year for the Arizona Cardinals.
He sure is, Phil. All right, we got Lamar Jackson, who only has 1 game with multiple TDs in his last 7. So he is due for a breakout performance. And Jacksonville has been known to give up some yards on the ground.
Time now for a pregame HQ delivered by Domino's.
If you're Zach Wilson, don't get too frustrated.
That's just another bad pass.
Another sack. Well, they just can't get anything going offensively. They just cannot move the football.
Do you feel like you let the defense down?
No.
It's not me, it's you.
The
Jet offense was non-existent. They had 2 yards total in the second half, and Zach Wilson looked completely overwhelmed.
I told you guys before, Zach's our quarterback.
Who's your quarterback, Robert?
We're going to roll with Mike White. The young man needs a restart. I do believe at the end of this, he's going to show why he was the second pick.
Hey, folks, it has indeed been a turbulent week for Zach Wilson. The second-year quarterback was benched. And, folks, he's not even active for today's game. So as I turn to our resident mature one over here, right move, long-term?
Well, don't laugh, Boomer. I'll just say this first. For Zach Wilson, toughen up. That's one thing you got to do in many ways, on the field, off the field. And it comes down to this. He misses too many easy throws. Why, JB? Everybody here. It's about mechanics.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh, Phil, you and your mechanics. Listen, you know why I say it? Because I know.
Yeah.
This is all true. When you do things over and over the same way, again, Boomer, you know this is the quarterback. You throw the ball so well, you become a better decision maker. You see it, you believe it, you rip it. And I just say this to you. If you don't think it's mechanics, I'll ask you, JB, you ever seen a golfer with a really bad golf swing win tournaments?
No, Charles Barkley has one of the worst swings, period.
Well, he ain't winning anything.
Sure.
We know that.
Well, you also need a good caddy, Phil. So, I mean, the one thing I'd say about the National Football League is for Zach Wilson is I think he was caught with his first year and maybe to this point. And I think what Robert Saleh did was the right thing to do because there's not about what he played. Denzel Mims, he dropped a pass in the first half that could have kept the drive going. And they also get more creative with their offensive play calling. I watched that whole game. Show me a guy that's open. The protection was breaking down. But you also have to be accountable. And he's got to be able to grow up. I love what they're doing, but he's still the best quarterback in that room. And if they want to win a championship and they want to go to the playoffs, they got to get him back on the field with the right mindset. And sometimes you got to break them down before you build them back up. And I think that's what Robert Saleh is doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, you talk about those mechanics. We've seen him practice these bad habits, and they become consistencies in his game. Now, I believe that Robert Saleh has made the right decision, benching him, allowing him to watch the game from a bird's eye view. And you know what? The criticism that this young man is facing, it's right on, JB. He hasn't been playing well. Has he played well in moments? Has he showed some flashes? Sure. But when you answer a question simply saying, no, you did not let the defense down, when clearly you did, that just shows immaturity. And hopefully he can learn from this. But my advice to the young fella is go out there, talk to your defense outside of the facility, not the coach nudging you in the meeting room or walking around the locker room. Go take them out to dinner, cut the check, and have a heart-to-heart with some of these guys that are supposed to be your brothers, because right now they're looking at them sideways.
A little easier said than done. I also think, coming from Utah, coming to New York and being handed the starting job at the Jets is not easy. It wasn't easy for Sam Darnold, who he replaced, who oddly enough is starting today. So my question for each one of you guys is a question that I've been asked over the last 2 to 3 days on WFAN radio here and of course CBS Sports Network. Is Zach Wilson, can you rehabilitate him to the point where he can be the second overall draft pick and be the future of the Jets quarterback? Can you?
I don't even hesitate. Yes, absolutely. The talent's there. Just got to get more consistent.
And the system has to fit him, too. We're seeing Geno Smith right now being a perennial backup, and all of a sudden you get the right system built around his skill set and bringing him along slowly. Don't ask him to do too much, too fast, particularly in this market. So the answer to your question is yes, with the right facility and the right approach to developing him.
I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough in him on the field to say that he can be a QB1 for a team that will contend for a Super Bowl.
I still think he can do the job. And, number one, he needs a healthy offensive line, which they haven't had, and he needs to get Breece Hall back, and that would be next year.
For sure.
When Breece Hall was on that field, he was a difference maker.
Yeah.
And they have difference makers pretty much at all the skill positions right now.
By the way, Barkley says he's got a better swing than me because mine is not existent.
I don't know about that.
Okay, I hear you. Hey, the Jets find themselves right in the middle of a crowded AFC playoff picture, but the Chiefs, folks, they're still in the driver's seat in the conference. So the question is, who do you see as the biggest threats to Kansas City?
You take a look at the remaining schedule. So Kansas City has the easiest remaining schedule out of all the teams in the AFC, which is amazing. Out of all the teams in the NFL, the second easiest schedule is the Baltimore Ravens. And we were just talking about them, how they run the ball, how they play defense, they get the takeaways. To me, that is a huge threat because those are the dynamics that lead a team from where they are today all the way to the Super Bowl.
I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa has not lost a game that he has started and finished all season long. And they're one of few teams in the NFL that have improved. They have improved every single week. And just imagine what they're going to be in the month of December. We just showed numbers from last month. So I just feel like they're going to continue to get better in their offense. It's going to travel well in December and January.
Just worry about their defense with Miami. I think that's the only thing. But I'll just say the Buffalo Bills. And I know we've seen them this last few weeks, and they've been edgy. They've had 3 losses, all by 3 points or less. But I just believe in Josh Allen, Steph Diggs, and you talk about that defense. I know Von Miller, the question mark is, can he get back here the rest of the season? But Ed Oliver stepped up the other day.
He did.
The one thing about this team is they went into Kansas City and they beat Kansas City. This quarterback and this team with Sean McDermott, they got a chip on their shoulder, and sometimes it's not bad to lose a few games to kind of get that edge back, you know, JB? And I think the Buffalo Bills got that edge back.
I mean, come on, who has a bigger edge than the Tennessee Titans? Listen, Mike Vrabel down there, but you know what makes them such a threat? They play a unique style. They're the only one in the NFL that lines up, gets under the center, everybody's there, we're going to run it, you know it, can you stop it? And Derrick Henry, he's a freight train running the football. And when you look at him, what I worry, don't wear Derrick Henry out during the season.
I hear you on that.
When they get to the playoffs, we need him healthy and ready to go. Over a 3-game stretch this year, he had 93 touches. I don't care who you are, that's too much.
So what about the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals?
You know what? They're not going to have Jamar Chase today, but that doesn't matter because they put up 79 points the last 2 weeks. But they will be facing a much tougher defense than they have in the previous 2 weeks. Joe Burrow, after a slow start, has basically come on here the last second half of the season. So you talk about the start of the, December. This for the Bengals, every game from this point on is a playoff game for them because they can't afford to lose anymore.
Yeah, when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, we always talk about Tyreek Hill, but the Robin to his Batman is this guy, Jalen Waddle, who is on his way to his first 1,000-yard season. Go ahead and waddle when you get in the end zone, young man. Go ahead and waddle. Let's go.
NFL Today is sponsored by WeatherTech Auto, Home, Pet. Find your fit at WeatherTech.com. Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by Jeep. There's only one.
Earlier this week, Chargers All-Pro safety Derwin James visited the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Ana. Folks, he helped serve a complete Thanksgiving dinner to over 150 local families. And there's Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons, 2 leaders on that tough Tennessee D, which will be trying to slow down the Bengals today, that in their big AFC matchup. And this week, these defensive standouts took some time to lead the Titans' takeover in Nashville.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to NFL Today, Tennessee Titans edition. We're taking over NFL Today. My name is Kevin Byard. This is Jeffrey Simmons, a.k.a. Big Jeff. So let's talk Titans football. I mean, obviously, didn't start off the year the way we wanted to, 0-2. But ever since then, our defense has been elite. I'm talking about number 1 in the league in a lot of categories. Why do you feel like we're balling so hard right now?
I think we'll go back to after we lost that second game of the season.
Touchdown, Buffalo! They are rolling him now!
And we talked about, leadership, and, I'm big on leadership from within.
And I think you were the one who sent the text to the leadership group text and was like, hey, man, I think we need to hit a variable, see if we can have this little team meeting, no coaches, just kind of air everything out, put everything out on the table.
And I knew that in order for us to move forward and get close as a team, we as leaders, captains, we have to come together.
And we've been balling out ever since, so I definitely think that worked. Let's talk about you. What do you feel like makes you a complete overall baller, one of the best players in this league?
I mean, it just started off with the way I play the game, play with a lot of passion. Each and every time I step on the field, I'm trying to take off someone's head. Like,
that's a fact.
That's a fact. I want to play fast. I want to be around the ball. And it's the same way I see with you, man. That's why I enjoy playing the game with you, man. Like each and every Sunday.
Let me ask you this though: Where did your celebration, your sack celebration, come from? Where'd it come from?
My first game was the Chargers.
It is Jeffrey Simmons with his first NFL sack.
And I ended up sacking Phillip Rivers at the time.
Yeah.
And I just remember flexing like I mean, I did it in college. I just remember flexing. My family, like, I was talking to my only like, that's got to be your, like, signature celebration.
Signature celebration.
So I'm like, that fit my, like, the big Jeff. I'm like, then it's like me, like, really flexing on them. Like,
That's how you play.
And that's
how you play.
And it's kind of fit me. So I'm like, all right, this is a celebration.
Oh, we got some video right here. All right, we're going to take a look at some of this film of Ray's back in the day when he was with the Patriots, man. See what he talking about.
This is what he already bragging about.
Man, catch the ball in front of your eyes, man. Oh, that was in the Super Bowl, too. I ain't gonna lie, Braves. Listen, if we was on the goal line, I'm matched up on you. I'm just letting you know I'm pressing you all the way, and you ain't catching anything on me. It's easy money. The celebrations definitely need a little bit more work, though. Just a little more work.
Let's talk about this weekend, man. We got the Bengals, and you know how it was last year, man. Like,
And the Bengals hand the Titans a crushing loss.
you know that feeling, walking off that field in that playoff game, losing to the Bengals. What you expect this weekend?
We're on a roll right now. We're playing really good football. Everybody, obviously, a good football team coming in here. We got to get a W. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a revenge game, but we definitely want to get our lick back. It's not a game we're going to take lightly. It kind of took our opportunity to, go to the Super Bowl last year.
We got to protect this house, man. We're going to play this together. Let's go short today, man. Ball out, man. That's right.
Playing so lights out right now. We're just playing together, man. It don't really matter who we line up against, man. We just kind of go out there and dominate and play our best style of ball, man. So I'm excited about this weekend. I know you are. Hopefully you can get a sack and give me a pick, man.
Couple sacks.
Hey, that's it for me and Big Jeff on the NFL Today Titans Takeover, man. Back to you, JB and the boys.
You know, KB and Jeffrey were just excellent. And by the way, as Phil said, nice to take a shot at the coach.
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel, he bump and run. But when you talk about Jeffrey Simmons, you talk about two guys in this league that just dominate on the interior. We're talking about right here, Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, what his numbers are: 22 tackles, 4.5 sacks, passes defense, quarterback kick sevens. Him and Aaron Donald, to me, are two guys that when they get in the middle, they are the heart and soul of this defense. And again, Kevin Byard on the back end. That's why this team defensively is very, very solid.
I'll tell you what Tennessee has. They got a lot of big dudes, man, all over the field. And one of those big dudes happens to be a running back in the name of Derrick Henry. Remember, you like to call him the freight train. To stop him, nobody slowed him down. Can you imagine tackling him? But if you make him shuffle his feet just a little bit, you have a chance to tackle him at the line of scrimmage like that. B.J. Hill, D.J. Reader for the Bengals. They are big keys today. We know the Bengals, like that playoff game, they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage, try to stop Derrick Henry, and they're going to see if Ryan Tannehill can beat with these receivers one-on-one outside.
And look at those numbers. He's averaging 54.6% of the team's touches. What does that mean? He demands attention by the defense. If you're the linebackers, even the corners and safeties, you're paying attention to the backfield. What does that give you? An opportunity to hit teams with the play action. And you ask, well, who are they throwing to? It doesn't matter. 8 guys touched the ball last week. Treylon Burks was the guy who caught the most balls. Austin Hooper had 4 catches, 2 TDs in the game. So they have individuals on this team that can catch the ball. The whole narrative that they don't have any wide receivers or pass catchers, yeah, you better watch out for this offense.
Well, think about it. They lost Corey Davis and A.J. Brown in the last 2 years.
Right.
And they were big parts of that offense with Ryan Tannehill. And when I think about Mike Vrabel, what he's done, he could be like the front runner for Coach of the Year. Because think about what Vrabel did last week against Green Bay. First time over 300 yards. They crowded the line. So what did he do? He threw the ball down the field. And the Bengals, I think, have a little bit better secondary than the Packers do. And they know how to play against Tennessee. But I have to say, Tennessee has won 7 of their last 8 games. The only game they lost was a game at Kansas City that they lost in overtime, and Malik Willis was the quarterback. That tells you all you need to know about how good this team really truly is.
And Charles Davis, who's down at the game, talked right last night. You talked about Joe Burrow and the rest of that team. They're not flinching. They don't have Jamar Chase right now. They don't have Joe Mixon. But this guy right here, cool as a cucumber. You talk about confidence oozing out of this guy. He went down there last year, sacked 9 times. You know what he didn't do? He didn't turn the football over. He relied right now on a defense. He's got T. Higgins. He's got Boyd. And again, Samaje Perine. I mean, out of the backfield. I'll tell you, Joe Higgins, Joe Burrow right now, he's as cool and one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. I would never count him out, even on the playoff picture.
Oh, they have 6 games against teams that would be in the playoffs right now out of the final 7. So they have one of the hardest schedules closing this season out. That's why I think back to the appendectomy with Joe Burrow early on in the season. It really did affect them the first couple games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Phil, but do you guys really dislike each other when you go through the upset specials?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
No,
we're competitive.
Yeah. All right. Hey, upset specials. Talking about that, JB, the Arizona Cardinals over the Los Angeles Chargers today, 30-20.
Oh.
And I was surprised to see Tennessee as an underdog, so I'm taking Tennessee 24, Cincinnati 20 today.
Okay, I got the Falcons over the Commanders, 24-17.
Sam Darnold is going to be starting for the Carolina Panthers today against the Denver Broncos. I'll take the Panthers 23-20 over the Broncos.
All right, and for those of you getting the 4 o'clock game, we'll be right back after a short break. But for the rest of you, with kickoff just a few minutes away, we are certainly going to get you out. Where, Nate?
To your game next.
Absolutely. Coming up later today.
The NFL Today on CBS is presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Coming up later today, the youthful Geno Smith and the Seahawks host Devontae Adams and the Raiders, and Kyler Murray returning to the lineup just in time for a meeting with Justin Herbert and the Chargers again. It's coming up 4 Eastern right here on CBS. Boom is trying to make sure I did that on purpose. Time now for a game day delivery presented by Amazon. Derek Carr and the Raiders have quite a bit of ground to make up, and certainly they are in desperate need of a win in Seattle.
Yeah, you know, JB, when you talk about Derek Carr and them going to Seattle, first off, the Seattle defense likes to do a lot of tricks. I don't think those are going to work today when you look at this Raiders offense. They got the answers. The big problem for the Raiders is what? Can their defense hold on to a lead? Can we put our offense in a good position? Because I think overall, when you look at that football team, Max Crosby on defense, and from there, good luck.
Hey, we talked about the Seattle Seahawks. They're starting 4 rookies, and the 2 of them are the offensive tackles. But on the other side, offensive side, Kenneth Walker, 4.9 yards per carry. He's got 7 touchdowns. And Tariq Woolen is a corner right now. He's been big time. Here's Kenneth Walker. What he's given them, the lift he's given, the running game he's given. Geno Smith has been unbelievable. Tariq Woolen, 7 takeaways. Leads the NFL with that. 6'4", very long corner. And I'll tell you right now, they've won 4 out of 5, and 5 of their last 7 games are at home. We all know how hard it is to play in Seattle.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker's been balling. I call him Kenneth Walker, Texas Ranger, because he's been a roundhouse in defenses like Chuck Norris. But all jokes aside, I love what Geno Smith has done, and you did a beautiful breakdown earlier with the eye vision. You know, Geno has been a quarterback that has moved around this league. He's been the butt of jokes at times. He could have easily taken the starting position and been a micromanager, play not to make a mistake. Now, he does take what defenses give him, but he does it in an aggressive manner, if that makes sense, which means he's very decisive in the pocket, going through his progressions. I just like the fact that Geno Smith has rewritten the narrative of his career, and I believe that's going to continue today up against the Raiders defense.
You know, as great as the story in Seattle is, and it is a great story, Coach Carroll and Geno Smith and all the young guys, it seems like there's a reboot, as you said, Coach. That's about as bad the story is in Las Vegas with Josh McDaniels. Now, they've won 2 games against the Denver Broncos, who are having their own problems, but I see this as a very difficult game for the Raiders going into Seattle and beating them. Seattle right now has got the mojo on their side. They got the momentum on their side, and their quarterback is like the comeback player of the year. While their own quarterback, Derek Carr, is the, I guess you could say he's last in the league in completion percentage in the second half of games, and that's a big problem. That's one of the reasons why they're unable to close out games where they do get out to big leads.
Let's talk about the other late game comeback around the horn, Chargers and Cardinals.
You know, we always talk about leadership. We talk about quarterbacks. We talk about Zach Wilson. He's getting benched, doesn't know how to really, conduct himself as a starting quarterback. Well, Justin Herbert knows how to conduct himself as a starting quarterback, how to be a face of a franchise. He loves the game of football. He's a tremendous player. There's a lot of injuries around him. A lot of times he camouflages those injuries, and he never makes excuses. He knows all the right things to say as the leader of the football team. I wish I could say that about Kyler Murray. I don't see that from him.
Yeah, you make a good point how he camouflages injuries that are happening around him. Mike Williams won't be in the lineup today. But that doesn't matter, though, because they have these big targets that that are really good for Justin Herbert in the red zone. And on the flip side, that Cardinals defense, 30th in red zone defense. So, you know, as long as they can get in scoring position, I do believe the Chargers are going to take advantage of that Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I think the Chargers, we look at them, they're 5-5, and they've lost their last 2 games to San Francisco, to Kansas City, 2 teams we're all talking about being in the playoffs. They've had leads going into the 4th quarter. It's just that inability to close games. You know, we know Justin Herbert right now, he's thrown the interception in 5 straight games. So just protecting the football. And Austin Eckler, I mean, what he's done now in these last couple of years, this guy's got like 11 touchdowns on the year, scrimmage touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a beast out there right now.
He's their most consistent player, Coach.
They can get Joey Bosa back with Khalil Mack that could help maybe close these games.
They're always looking for a running back out there in Los Angeles to take Austin Eckler's
spot, and they
away
never
from
do.
him, but it's not working. He just keeps getting better, and he's showing everybody. I got to talk about Justin Herbert a little bit about this. This past week was the first time I saw him since the Kansas City game where he got hurt, where he was completely healthy. And, man, listen, power throws, he can do it with anybody in the NFL, but also what I think separates him, he has the touch to drop those passes in with soft touch. And you said it, Nate. Man, he misses Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a post-up player, and he was that guy.
You played against Barkley, and he did have a good game at one point.
Barkley, before that swing went really haywire, it was pretty good. He was a good player.
Haywire is a good idea.
And basically Eastern.